players, the personalities who come from around the world to play professional soccer in the United States.
Go, go, USA! Oh, it's incredible!
In a world where some call it football, football, or soccer, they dare to call it foosball. One thinks New York is blue, the other thinks New York is red. Soccer in America from a German perspective. Let them put some sauerkraut on your hot dog and join them for the Schnitzel Boys USA Hour.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, hello. I think I figured out the tech finally.
Perhaps.
Very good. Very good.
Perhaps.
I feel confident.
Excellent.
I saw
This
that.
is artisanal. We say it every week, but it's a homebrew podcast with two dudes at home,
Yep.
man.
Locally made. You don't want
Locally
to.
sourced.
You don't want to listen to these podcasts that get imported from far away. We make it right here for you.
There's no
the Schnitzel
AI.
boys. These schnitzels come from local calves. Veal,
That's right, and they're
calves, veal
breaded, local
cows.
veal.
Yes.
And there's no AI here. This is fully HI, human intelligence.
Some people might say there's no I at all. That's not true. That would not be true.
There's some I.
There's some I. We got a little I.
Yeah,
But no AI.
No AI, just HI, just figuring it out. But there we go. This is USA Hour. There's all sorts of characters, and we dare to call it foosball.
We do
dare to call
dare it.
soccer
Yeah, we
foosball.
do dare to put some sauerkraut on your sausage.
Yeah, okay. I got really into hot dogs lately. I mean, I've always liked hot dogs, but sometimes I get in a kick, and I just go to 7-Eleven and buy hot. 7-Eleven makes good hot dogs.
Do they? I don't
Yeah,
know
for
that I've
cheap.
ever. I don't know that I've ever had a 7-Eleven hot dog. I remember I was working on the many years ago. I was working on that show, The Dog Whisperer, with Cesar. I forget what his last name was. but
Milan?
He was Cesar Milan. That's right. Thank you.
Yeah.
And he would talk about how when he first came to the U.S., he would sleep under a bridge. He didn't have anything, and he was sort of a day laborer, and he knew he needed to make, $5 to be able to buy the 2 hot dog special at 7-Eleven at the end of the day, and that was his dinner, and that sort of stuck with me. Not enough to go get one, but
to imagine one.
Yeah, to imagine what it would be like to live that kind of a life where you're kind of every day you're like, all right, I got to get the $6 to buy the 2 hot dogs, and then I'll live another day.
Yeah, you know where that came from for me. The whole hot dog kick was New York. I think it was the same, but here in LA, especially when you leave a stadium, there's just an army of people grilling bacon wrapped hot dogs.
Oh,
and
really?
The smell just smell everywhere. It's like how to drink hot. They're trying to sell stuff, fire sale. It must be a very important market because every live event I go out and there's everywhere by the parking lot. Every 10 feet is another dude in his grill grilling. Like he has what looks like 20 to 30 bacon wrapped hot dogs grilling fresh.
Okay.
And I'm like, I guess they sell all of them. They must because I do it all the time. I look at that and think that must be waste. I just want to get to my car though. I just, but people do hang out and buy the beer. But anyway, that smell
outside of Yankee Stadium, it's almonds. It's like candied almonds.
Ah, I remember that, like the Nutty Bavarian, right?
Yeah, that's more of a New York thing. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I like that. Now, but here it's bacon wrapped hot dog, and I was so hungry, but I had to like run to work, so I ran to my car, and that smell just stuck with me, and I regretted not buying one. I think they're like $10, so I wasn't going to buy that anyway. $10 for a hot dog. But I just had the hankering for that hot dog. So the next day I'm like, where do I even get a hot dog? And 7-Eleven is the answer. There's a place around here called Wiener Schnitzel we talked about. They're like a hot dog place, but it's not super near my house. But 7-Eleven, they have them rolling hot all day. So who knows how old they are. And you put them in an old bun, and then they have a fresh little toppings bar right next to it. So
you put some onions and it tastes just like new.
It tastes just like it. It tastes new enough. So that way. The buns weren't great.
New to you.
New to me. It's new to me. It's not new to anybody else. But anyway,
Not new to the guy working there, but
No.
it's new to you.
no,
that
no,
hot
no.
dog.
But the
Oh,
reason I was leaving a stadium, the
okay.
Bacon Wrapped Hot Dog Stadium, is because I attended last Sunday the doubleheader, or maybe even a triple header of
Oh,
USA
yeah.
versus Canada, and then
What's the
Panama,
triple? The
Mexico.
triple is the bacon wrapped hot dog is the main attraction.
No, no, the triple was the Will Smith concert. They snuck in between both of the games.
Oh,
I saw Will
I
Smith
thought you were
live.
joking about that. That was real.
No, it was real. No, why would I joke about
If
that?
you
That's a
if
rare.
you're hearing rumbling in the background, there's thunder and lightning here in New York
Ooh.
City. We had some bad rain earlier, so that's what you're hearing. Anyway, sorry. Go
I was
on.
gonna
Not
say, do you
to
need to turn off? Do you need to turn off your electronics? As a
Will
kid, whenever
Smith.
it's lightning, I have
Was
to
he
turn off.
was he under control? He wasn't hitting anyone.
Well, no, thankfully, I yelled slap. Will Smith is like just trying. He's on like social media. So little Schnitzel, 6 degrees of Stefan Schnitzel. A good friend of mine worked for Will Smith. He's part of Will Smith's company.
Hmm.
Big superstars have like companies, and you'd be surprised. I want to say Will Smith's company had like, God, had hundreds of employees,
Hundreds.
and yeah, something like that. And this
What do
company is
they
like a small
do?
production company. Your guess is as good as mine. They had to write for him every day, and they had to put out a social media presence. Like they were his,
Okay,
like The Rock, Kevin Hart. These guys have
that
full
accounts
companies
that
that do their.
accounts for 3 to 4 people.
That's what I'm saying. No, I'm telling you, hundreds. If you want, it's like 100 people here, and I'm just like, kind of like if you ever saw that Neymar documentary. He has kind of one of those companies
Yes.
where they employ quote unquote thousands of people, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, save your money, man. I don't know what that is. Now, in their defense, social media is just part of it. It's publicity, and also they're pitching full projects. Like, so my friend who worked for Will Smith went to the World Cup in 2018 to film a full-length Facebook TV show starring Will Smith,
Hmm.
because that was one of the main things Will Smith would do. And to this day, I've never heard like the amount of projects these people do that you even hear of. It's like there's like he produced so many Facebook TV shows. Have you ever watched a
Because you
TV show
make
on Facebook in your life?
not recently, no.
Me neither. No one else does either.
The pivot
But
to video
anyway,
still has not happened to me.
cut to the slap. 99% of that company was laid off,
Oh,
including my friend. My friend was laid off. When that slap happened, my friend got laid off because Will Smith is canceled, right?
mm.
However, he's pretending like he's not canceled. He has a new album out. He's doing a world tour. He's doing a lot of shows in Germany. I think this was his preview to go to Germany. Germans love Will Smith, I guess. And then he's got that viral YouTube video.
On
If
the
you saw
David
that
Hasselhoff, he's on the David Hasselhoff circuit.
tour. Yeah, tour. But because like I didn't choose to go to Will Smith concert. They snuck him on me.
So,
So
okay, no, I have questions. So there were 2 soccer games already,
right.
and in between,
Yes.
like how long was this concert?
10 minutes.
Oh, it was an appearance. It was an
Yeah, it was an appearance.
Okay.
I mean, it's a concert. I have photos. I should have shared. I don't even know how we do this on this platform anymore. I have photos and video to share. I'll probably share it on Twitter. If you're listening, go to Schnitzel Boys X. I got a couple photos. For instance, the Will Smith. So USA played Canada. Okay, so we're a week late, but so I could let the smoke settle, and I'm sure you got all the negativity and analysis from everybody and their mother. But pretty much a big thing with
Now
these games
and we're
were the
going to
lack of
tell you
attendance.
how this all was actually good. No.
Well, no, I'm just trying to give a quick abridged version. So I was there. I was physically there. Now the big talk was, why is the attendance so low? Now, yes, that you know me, that's been along. U.S. soccer should be better. I blame U.S. soccer.
Mhm.
But this was a CONCACAF thing, and CONCACAF booked these as double headers. You bought a ticket, you got a pass for both games.
And Mexico
And
has more fans.
and Mexico has way more fans that spend. They definitely have more fans, but they also have fans that spend. Because like they don't really, it could be $200, $300, they don't care. They spend their hard-earned money to go to a Mexico game. I think it's not just about soccer; it's also a cultural thing. It's like a big event for a lot of Mexican Americans and Mexicans from LA and San Diego and Orange County to come up. I'd be surprised if anyone in that stadium was coming up from Mexico. I'm sure some were, but there's probably a lot of people, mainly people from California and Arizona, things like that. It's a big cultural event for them. It's like, so there's a little difference there between them and selling a U.S. ticket. But it's also a doubleheader. So, like, I don't know how those crowds should have been any better. I mean, if half were sold to the US and half were sold to Mexico, you would have had 2 half houses, right? I don't know how that really works. But anywho, I
Yeah.
was at the USA Canada game, very sparsely attended, a small Canadian, proud batch of Canadians, a very small representative of the US fan base, by the way. The US fan corps was only like 100 people. I'm just like,
What?
really? For USA? Yeah. I'm like, really?
100 people?
Yeah.
No.
No, I'm talking to you like I'm talking what's it called?
The
Yanks
support.
Army or whatever they're called. The American Outlaws. The American
They had,
Outlaws was half a section.
they had 100 people?
That's it was half a section.
Ooh,
And I'm like,
that's not good.
yeah, I'm like, even they were not even showing up. It's like, well, you're the American Outlaws. You're banging drums all day. The people with their backs turned in the game. They were there. All the psychopaths were there. But anyway, it was USA Canada, right? We lost that game. Time the last hour, Fonzie Davies gets injured early. It doesn't do anything for us. They still beat us. They beat us 2-1. We lost both of them. We lost to Panama on Thursday. We lost to Canada. I was supposed to watch a USA Mexico game in LA in front of a packed house. I ended up watching a Mexico Panama game in front, which was a blast. I did the thing where I yes-anded the Mexican experience. I'm like, I'm here for Mexico, man.
Did that
I'm not a
even,
Mexican fan, but like, I'm here to
I'm-
enjoy the environment.
I'm embarrassed to say I don't think I know how that game turned out. The
Mexico. It was not. It was tight. Mexico won 2-1.
Okay.
They won because of a last-minute penalty. And
Mm.
I don't know. Did you see the highlights at all? It was so silly.
Did not.
So Panama has knocked out the U.S. in the last 3 major summer tournaments. I was at 2 of them. I was at the one in San Diego.
Perhaps
I was not the
you
one
are-
in Atlanta.
Perhaps you
Huh?
are bad luck. Have you considered that you might be bad luck?
Maybe. I don't know why. It's me. It's me. Huh? I got Riz for days. Why am I bad luck? But anyway, I was there to give the good luck. I was supporting. When Panama knocked out USA in Gold Cup 23 in San
Mhm.
Diego, I was there,
Mm.
and the Americans were on the field with a sour puss. I started the clap. Fans started clapping with me. Then the team came us and clapped back to us. I started that.
It
Just
was
to put it out
it was a conciliatory gesture.
Yes, it was like, it's okay. You're a fan. Blah blah blah. I was not there in Atlanta. Essentially, it cost Greg his job when Panama beat us in Atlanta 2-1. Cut to last Thursday, they beat us with a last-minute goal, 1-0. Very sloppy. And then Panama went to play Mexico. They got right before the half, they got a penalty equalizer to make it 1-1. And they spent the second half. Panama is a tough little nut to crack.
Mm.
And then the only reason Mexico won, because Mexico didn't have much to offer, by the way, in general. Even with Raul Jimenez,
they're struggling too.
yeah, they're struggling. They have Raul Jimenez and Santi Jimenez. I think they have similar last names. Up top is a great top two.
One with the
AC Milan
J,
man and
one
the Fulham.
with the J, one with the G, right?
Right. Yeah. Yes, I think exactly correct. They're a great top two. They're the guys. But Mexico is playing a long game. They're playing Jose Mourinho style. They're cutting out the midfield, just long balls and long games, which is working for them. So good for them. But anywho,
This is an interesting. Anyway, you keep going. I have something to say.
all I have to say is, if you check the highlights, Panama was holding them 1-1. It was about to go to penalties or overtime, where Panama maybe had a chance. And then in the box, entirely by himself, a Panamanian defender just lifted his hand and just like touched the ball right at the death. And then Mexico's like, handball, and they got a penalty and they won 2-1, and they're the North American champions.
Oh.
It is such a brain fart move. It was one of those things where it's like, I wonder if gamblers offered him money. It's one of those things where it's just like, it's kind of bad. I don't know.
He was paid off. Oh no.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pretty brain farty. It's pretty much like it's past his head. Ball went past his head to go out of bounds. So he just needs to leave it be. But then he like lifts his arm and like touches it before it goes out of bounds, and gives them a penalty, and they lose the game. So
that's odd.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Daniel Young
was a fun night. Sorry,
Daniel Young says,
fun night.
in my opinion, Latin Americans are the best fans in the sport of football. He also wants to talk about NYCFC, but we'll get back to that one. Yeah. No, go on. Sorry.
No, I'll just tell you guys real quick. I mean, yeah, it was a lot of a packed house, and then at the end, everyone's throwing beer and stuff. It's a fun night. It was a fun. I was like there. It's like I paid my ticket.
You're gonna have a good time.
I snuck into a lower section.
This is where
have a
this
good
is
time.
where this is where the Stefan Schnitzel flexible fandom comes in handy. You're just ready. You're
I'm just ready to have a good time. I'm just ready to have a good time.
If it's like, yeah,
Hey, I rooted for the U.S. 2 hours prior before the Will Smith concert.
and then
So anyway,
So
USA
Will
loses to
Smith.
Canada.
Okay, I'm sorry to be harping on Will Smith. 10 minutes, like 3 songs. He had a band. What was the setup?
Yeah. So it was like the setup was like a Super Bowl halftime show.
So there
Good
was a
on them to
little.
organize. They had like
They rolled out a little stage in the middle of the field.
yeah, they had a huge tarp, the stage. They had pyro, and then they had an army of dancers waiting for him, like backup dancers. And then so this is the bit. So and I recorded this on my phone. I'll share this on X. There's a stadium announcer be like, he has 3 Grammys and 4 Academy Awards, considered the greatest men of men, like the most.
He has
The
4
most
Academy
farts.
Awards.
Nah, I forgot this.
Oh,
He
you're
lists
just
his accolades.
Okay, I'm
He
sorry.
does have 4 Grammys, I think.
He
He's
does
like a
not-
BAFTA, an Oscar,
what do you
Emmy.
get
Yeah,
for-
he just
what do you
listed
get
all his
for
accolades.
for? Okay.
And then on the big screen TV on the Jumbotron, which SoFi has many of. Just want to say SoFi, such a great stadium. Love that stadium. Can't wait to go watch World Cup there next year. But anyway, I digress. It zooms into the booth, and Will Smith is on the microphone. The bit is he's doing his own intro, like he's the deep voice guy. And so he gets popped by the cameras like, Will Smith is a great man. So it was a very sloppy bit to kind of him pretending to be humble, but really he's just listing off his accolades to an unsuspecting audience. We're not there for a Will Smith show. We're there to watch soccer. We just happened to he trapped us. Like a full house. We're trapped. Now we have to watch Will Smith.
This is just
And
wild.
then
How did this come to
It
me?
is wild. And then he puts the microphone down and he runs out, and then the camera follows him through the hallway out to the field.
Like the
and he starts
weekend
singing-
at the Super Bowl.
like the weekend of the Super Bowl, 100%. And you start singing "Get Jiggy with It." I was like, "Da na 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 na
Okay.
na 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 na, get jiggy with it." But it's like a DJ mix. It's "Get Jiggy with It" for about a minute, then he cuts straight into Men in Black. We are the Men in Black.
All right.
Men in
Okay. I
Black.
guess I
And
guess I know more Will Smith songs than I thought. Okay.
Yeah.
And then what else?
No, but then there were like 2 or 3 new songs I never heard of, and I think they're from his new album.
Nobody knew. Okay.
Well, I'm not Mr.
But it was
Music,
sort
you know
of
more about
medley
music than I do.
style. He just kind of went with,
DJ
like,
medley
2-minute
style, but it
whatever,
was a full like field, like a packed house. It was like a
Okay.
Super Bowl halftime show almost.
And how did people feel about it?
They were into it. I mean, I yelled "slap" over and over again, but no one heard me. I was one of 80,000 people. Actually, the official attendance was 69,000 people.
What were you hoping to achieve with that?
I was
Slap.
hoping
what
that
does
people
that
next to
even-
me would laugh. I was hoping the people around me would laugh. That's what I was hoping.
So slap, like as in slap somebody, or you slap? Was it like supposed to be commemorative of what happened, or encouraging him to do it again? Like what was the what?
Just reminding him that he went on global television and physically assaulted someone. and he's pretending he's not canceled for that. It's like violence isn't the answer. And now he's like, "Oh, I'm not canceled. I'm on a global music tour with my new album."
He hit
Like,
Chris
no,
Rock.
we don't want it.
Oh my god!
But anyway, so that was the Will Smith experience. So
They're making
I
a
was there. I
joke.
had a blast. I was in that stadium for like 6 hours. So I was there for the pregame.
Yeah,
I
that's
went
a
to the
long.
Canada.
That is a
Yeah.
long. That's a long day. Yeah, it's like baseball. It's like going to baseball.
Cut. It's like a cut to the, and I didn't buy any food because I'm cheap. So imagine how
Oh
good
my
those
God.
hot dogs smell.
Oh, you were gonna inhale one of those.
I know, and I didn't buy a hot dog on the way
You
out.
showed some strength. All right.
Showed some- No, I did buy Pepsi or 2. I think Pepsi was a big sponsor. But a beer is $19.
So-
food. Anyway, so there you go. That was the experience. I was happy to be there. But yes, USA is back. You have thoughts you want to share?
I mean, I don't know. Is it worth?
Well, people. So
Getting into-
So this is. I want to talk about TV for a second.
Okay.
When you're a hit show, people leave you alone. When your ratings are down, all of a sudden, quote unquote, the experts show up and they doctor it and they say this needs that, and that never works either. So when you're a failure, people like to offer answers, but no one has any answers, right?
Well, it's
I
also-
generally believe it's just that the energy wasn't the intent. Talk about how good the intensity is with Germany. I believe the intensity with the U.S. was not there. I believe it was 100% an effort thing.
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't really, people like to talk X's and O's, and people talk about does Pochettino really care and blah 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 blah. I'm like, yeah, I guess there's some truth to the fact that this is just some side gig for Poch. Maybe he's not as into it as a Jesse Marsh is, But like, I thought the X's and O's were fine. It does. You can analyze it. His subs were weird. His call ups were maybe a little non-conventional, but whatever. If they won, if Panama didn't score that last minute goal, we wouldn't be talking about this. He'd be a genius, tactical genius. So I don't think that's it. I really do think it's just the players need to give a little more of a crap, to be honest.
Okay.
I mean, he pulled the main three off with 70 minutes to go, and they were down a goal, and he pulled Tyler Adams, Pulley, and McKennie off. And I think that's a message of being like, you three are not effective. Like, you guys need to be more effective. Poch himself is close, but I can motivate you once, twice, maybe 3 times. But after that, you guys have to want to be there. It's like, I can't motivate you guys every time. And, so I put it on a little bit more on the players this time around. The other part of the story is when they went out and saw the empty stadium, they looked like Christian Pulisic and McKennie kind of looked at each other like they were mad that fans were there, and they probably felt they were too good for this place, and it showed. Panama, on the other hand, really wanted to be there. They were very proud to be there, like they've been the last 3 summers. They were ready to pounce on Thierry Henry again. And
they were so excited about Thierry Henry. That was awesome. Okay.
Yeah, that was. But anyway, so that's my thoughts. Is I don't want to sit there and take the katana out and be like, bad Poch, bad tactics, X's and O's. I don't think this has anything to do with X's and O's. I think it has a lot to do with just spirit and wanting to be there, wanting to give a crap. To me, that's what it boils down to. But anyway, I'm done. Bjorn,
okay,
take the floor.
Well, yeah, I don't feel the. I mean, I guess I should gloat a little, perhaps, since I kind of thought this might happen, this kind of thing. I thought this was not going to be a thing of the past under Pochettino. I mean, but on the other hand, well, I guess one kind, I think you're not wrong about the intensity, but it's also like, there's got to be a balance, right? These guys come from Europe, a lot of them, and that's a big flight that's different than the German national team just cruising over to Italy or
right, yeah,
or Dortmund, or so you can't always expect them to show up like with their hair on fire like and ready to take people down if it's like a March game against Panama, in this kind of setup. But then if you have you got to find ways to win, and they just and that wasn't the case. I thought Poch carried a little bit of responsibility. I mean, I said this in the other hour. It's like Germany was lining up against Italy as if they were playing Panama, and the US were lining up against Panama as if they were playing Italy. Like,
well, you're supposed to do that. It's
the Tyler
Nations League.
But it's like Tyler Adams, Tanner Tessman. You need like 2 D mids against Panama who are just gonna sit.
You mean use 2 defensive? Okay.
Yeah.
I meant
yeah,
that's true.
No, that's what I mean. I thought if you because it's always sort of the D mid that sort of are the giveaway, right? Germany was playing Goretzka and Pascal Gross, which is like, oh, you're not too worried about getting overrun the midfield, versus the US playing Tyler Adams and Tanner Tessman. Tanner Tessman, I don't know, I have not seen him do anything that makes me think he's a starter.
No, me neither. This was his chance
in the national team. But you certainly didn't need a second. You didn't need a second defensive midfielder against the Panama team that was just going to sit back. So, but I mean, there's some people. Josh Sargent, he had a goal called off for offside. I mean, and then and the goal was a bad goal to give up. Then there's a lot of talk of if Matt Turner plays regular, he saves it. Tim Ream,
right?
He's
out of position, I think. Yeah.
I think, maybe. The team didn't look super sharp. I don't think they had the best lineup out against this team. But I think the overarching thing, and we touched on that in the previous hour, is that this it's just the same old, it's the same old player pool. And it doesn't really there's a little bit of there's some oomph missing, right? There's not These guys are not really pushed for their positions. There's no like new guys coming fighting for their spots. It's like this starting lineup doesn't have a lot of, um, there's not a lot of spots where you're like, you have like a bunch of good options. Again, in contrast to Germany, where Nagelsmann has cultivated, and Poch is looking. What's making me laugh is that Poch is finding his alternates in MLS. Which is
Right.
like that was not on anyone's bingo card, right? You bring Pochettino in, and
Yeah.
but there also aren't any. There is not this new generation of young American players in Europe that are crushing it. That's not happening, and so
Right.
it's the same few guys. Some of them are playing, some of them are not. Tyler Adams is playing a lot. He's coming back from injury. But a lot of these guys, I did a few, whenever that was, a few months ago, this Where Are They Now, comparing the starting lineup of the US with the starting lineup of the Netherlands. And, it's not the same. So I think now, I guess the overarching thing is like, why are these expectations so high? Why do people think that these guys should just blow everybody away? Previously the narrative was that it's all Greg's fault and he's holding everybody back. And now we're kind of adjusting to the reality that the golden generation is the bronze generation, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, true. Like, very valid. Yeah, I think, like the expectations are high, but let's get some context here. This is versus Panama.
Right.
It's not like, it's not, the American players aren't in the Champions League final. That's true. But then the Champions League quarterfinals, like they're in the Champions League quarterfinals.
Yeah.
Panamanian players are barely top flight players. They're just local pros of a couple of MLS
No, it's
guys.
true. On paper, yeah, they should.
So,
yeah.
So they should be doing better. If you want to get tactical, we really rely on our wingers. Like Jerry Robinson and Des not being there has exposed a huge frailty with our team. We can't play through the middle. Like with Pulley down the middle, we can't play through the middle. The only bit of middle action we got is when Diego Luna was able to set up Ajiman for that goal. And and yeah, I do like kind of like what Nagelsmann is doing. And I like this. Pochettino is just playing the player. I don't think he really gives a crap about the league. Like he's not, like Noah Kai Banks maybe should have gotten a shot. But it's like, no, he's calling his January camp guys. He's going to give Achiman a start over Damian. He got over Damian Downs, for instance, the American scoring for Combe.
Yeah.
He gave it to Achiman instead. And I like that. I like that. You know me. I'm not the league you play in and the team you play for is only part of the equation. The other part of the equation is how are you doing as a player? Like if you're a superstar for Real Salt Lake and the league crushing week, I'd much rather play you versus a guy on the Bayern München reserve team. You know what I mean? So I do like that, and I think that might create that culture you're talking about, like a little fire in the butt. Because you're right, Pulley and McKennie and Adams were very ineffective. They're the leaders. They're the team core. They're the three guys. And when we were a goal down with 20 minutes to go, all three of them were pulled off the field. Especially McKennie. Where was he? And Tyler Adams come back from injury. And Tyler Adams does so much work. And Tyler Adams,
but he's also he's not
really well with Bournemouth.
And he's not going to break down a defense. Like that's not his game. Yeah.
No, we struggle to break down the mid block, but we play a lot of teams like that. So we have our wings. We need to be just more creative coming through the middle. We have to figure that out. There were a lot of missed passes, a lot of throwing hands, a lot of bad set pieces. Mm-hmm. Our set pieces are still not any good. There was actually a moment where Poch was trying to pull them off before the set piece, and Pulisic waved him off. He's like, no, I'm going to do the set piece. And Poch was like shaking his head. He's like, I want to do subs. And Pulisic, like a diva, said, hold your subs. I'm going to do the set piece first.
I have to shank this. I have to shank this over the bar before I come off.
Which is exactly what he did. And it's like, Pulley, I think he wanted you off before that set piece, And also goes to show you who's in charge. And then, that's where the criticism is. It's like, Poch, he put what's it say, the AC Milan guy out of position when probably should have been Timo Weah back there because Timo Weah had a lot more experience doing that. Yunus Musa. And then Tanner Tessman, I think Tanner Tessman is being tested as a 10, which is not really what he plays.
What? Okay.
Yeah, well, but he wanted to see Tanner Tessman.
All right, I have questions about that then.
Yeah, the
I
same
think
same as everybody else. Same as everybody else. So, it yeah, and also the other thing is like for Putch, like this is a big deal for us giving him $6 million a month. Even though I think that's actually pretty good. That's kind of a steal. I thought he'd be much more expensive. And $6 million a year isn't
it's
like
less than
most of the bigger national team coaches make more money and stuff. So I don't
significantly
think,
less than Thomas Müller gets paid at Bayern.
yeah, exactly. So, but we've known like there's no consequences for coaches like that. Like if he's the worst coach in U.S. history, when he's done, he's going to go coach AC Milan. He has no, I don't like. There's no real consequences for them over here. No one really takes the sporting merit of the North American soccer game super seriously in Europe. So for Putch, that raises questions of like, does he care enough? Like this, are the stakes for him high enough? And I'm not really. We're ready to go there. You lose games. It's early, experimental. He says we still have time. He's got a little over a year to fix it. He says we're going to fix it. He's smart. Hopefully, we need to fix how to move the ball to the middle. The intensity
Well,
is
this
going to
is
kind of solve itself when it's in front of a full house at the World Cup. They're definitely going to be playing with their hearts. Like you said, it is hard for players to fly here for a week and fly back versus a summer tournament like the Gold Cup this summer. For them to
yeah,
come here back home and spend the whole summer here is different.
that's going to be a good opportunity for him to sort things out. The other big picture thing, this was I think who don't want to take credit myself. It's like Alexi Lyle's sidekick, David. Is it David Mossy? Is that his name?
Yeah, yeah, Mossy.
He had he made a point that I thought was valid about how, and this is not just Potch. This is since Berhalter, really. It's been decided that this is a ball playing, possession based team.
Right.
That this is a new kind of, and this is not necessarily that hasn't always been the case. Obviously, the U.S. men's national teams of old would be like, kick and rush, kind of like defend hard and defend hard, be scrappy, and try and score on a counter or a set piece, something like that. And now, for whatever reason, the general consensus is, oh no, we're past this. We're now a modern team, a ball playing, so possession based. So we're going to play out of the back. And like you're saying, it's not really happening. And you saw this more against Canada, I thought, when they were a goal down, and it was just really, it's hard to be a possession based team if you cannot advance the ball. And it's like, who are these guys? Who are these guys in the midfield? I thought at some point, this is where the endless in corners of NYCFC Twitter, the endless shouts for Keaton Parks for the national team, which at this point obviously is a joke because he's like 28. He's never gonna play for the national team again. But it's this kind of profile, or call it Tony Kroos on a higher level, that kind of player who's always open and can make progressive passes under pressure, bulletproof no matter what. That person just doesn't exist on the US team. It's not it's not Tyler Tessman, it's not Tyler Adams. It was Yunus Musa for a while when he was kind of that guy. Luca de la Torre was brought in for that role, and he had some good games. But right now, Musa's playing on the side, and it's like, and that's it's hard to have that kind of ambition or philosophy when you don't have the people to pull it off. And so that's really the big thing. Like, where does that expectation come from, that we're supposed to be the sophisticated, and of course you can't have it all, right? You can't have it both. You don't play out the back, and you also have, there's something gets lost in that process. You don't have the like super hard-nosed, at center back, like there used to be a Walker Zimmerman. He was kind of more of that old school guy, and now I think this is the biggest, the goalie center back is like the biggest question mark, a year plus away from the World Cup. You don't know who the starting center back pairing is, right? I don't think we know.
Yeah, because it's like Tim Raines, our most solid guy. And
but
the whole time it can't be him because he's going to be 39.
40. Yeah, he's going to be it.
But maybe it will be him. I don't know. That's why I got my eyes on Noah Kai Banks. I'm like, come on, Noah Kai, get up there. It's definitely Chris Richards, I think, when he's on his game. It
Sure, yeah.
probably should have been Miles Robinson, but I think he's been a little hit or miss. Is he still injured? He had that big injury.
I think he's still coming back. Yeah, there's right.
Mark McKenzie's really not it, you know. And,
maybe.
yeah.
Cameron Carter-Vickers.
Right, Cameron Carter's not it either. I've never, unless he gets better all of a sudden. I don't think it's CCV.
Zach Steffen is having a really good MLS season. All of a sudden, I've been ragging on him last year, but I have to credit where credit is due. He seems to have improved. Matt Turner's got to find a new team this summer. He's got to play if he wants to be. But there's a lot of question marks. Yeah.
No, definitely. But with the U.S., there's always a lot of question marks, right? Nothing about that's different.
Diego Luna looked like, and he's one that I have in the past sort of, I'm like, why does this kid get all of this hype? But he really was good against Canada for a lot of it, I thought.
Yeah, he cared. Also, he didn't have that big flight, you know, it wasn't that big of a deal for him. He was in it to win it, and also a good opportunity for him to showcase. He was looked over for the Olympic squad, and you know,
right.
So, but yeah, and you know, and also Adjiman did good. People talk about Adjiman's no young cookie. He's like a new.
Yeah,
he's had a good season. He's
that's right. He's not
late 20s already,
24,
right?
Yeah, or 24. Yeah, not a young person. That's true.
So, you know, they need to find their play. And also, I'll say that Josh Sargent, who's never looked good in the U.S. shirt, got a lot of criticism. And I don't know why. I thought he looked good. I probably had his best game. He wasn't the reason. He wasn't the reason that was called offside. That would have been a good goal.
He hasn't scored for the national team since 2019. I learned.
But he also hasn't played much. He didn't play much for a lot of that too. He's had gaps.
That's 6 years though.
Yeah,
that's wild.
But Josh Sargent's playing better now than ever in the championship. And I do believe I saw a dude who was dangerous. He only scored once, and he almost scored another time. You know, I can't say that about anybody else. Adjiman did score, but he also missed what many people might consider a sitter later in that. And I think it was the Canada game. But you know, the way they play, you're 100% right. The whole this ball possession thing. It's like, who's it working for? I would say like the way we play actually serves a team like a Germany or an Italy or an England better than playing Panama.
I would agree with that. And
I
also
think the way we play is we're built to play against.
And in the same way also sort of serves other CONCACAF teams in a way, you know, because you're like, I mean, that's the rest of CONCACAF is very happy to just kind of defend and then just sort of hope for the best up front and be very opportunistic and direct and not worry too much about, like, you know, advancing it through the midfield. Very happy to hoof it long and then fight for second balls kind of thing.
They're doing to us what we used to do to Europe pretty much. And the Brazils and Argentinas. And I think the way we play serves better to teams that play against us, but we never play them. We're only playing CONCACAF minnows usually. Like when was the last, you know, we don't play mid-level and high-level teams because just the way the scheduling is. And Tony Miola said, like, no matter how, when we played against Italy and Germany back then, they always said the same thing. We were tough to play against. Even if they won, we were still a tough, scrappy little group player. And the U.S. has lost that. They're not tough to play against anymore. And I think it comes from the fact that they have this new ball possession game, which is good. I'm not against it. I understand they want to advance the way they play. And it really shows against better teams. However, the fact that we can't break a little mid-block is we need to fix it. We should have fixed that 2 years ago now. It's like we need to fix that. And if it means playing more direct, that's probably a good thing. Playing a little faster, a little more direct. That's what Mexico's doing. They are skipping their midfield.
Mm-hmm.
They are taking the ball and they're chucking it up to get it up top as fast as possible. And does it work great? No, but they did win the Nations League title with it. You know, the front two of Jimenez does look like that's the pair. It's a good attacking pair. It looks like it's working well. And you know, Mexico, for all intents and purposes, has lower quality on paper. You know, most of those guys are Liga MX players and stuff. They're not the same. It's not a big bunch of guys from Europe. It's just a small handful of guys from Europe coming in. I mean, out of the upper two, I'm trying to think if there are any others, to be honest. And they're doing it. So, and they're getting themselves ready for the World Cup under Javier Aguirre. So, yeah, the U.S. definitely has some big question marks. I'm not too worried. I think it's a mentality thing. I think it's an easy shift. You know, you can't can't birth new players. The players are who they are, and as far as this crop of players, it's better than we've ever had. That's still true, I believe.
Okay.
It's not like we used to have Manchester United starting 11 on our team. We've never been better. Like the fact that we had
We don't have
8 to 12 Americans through the Champions League round of 16. There's no precedence for that. We've never had that amount of Americans playing high level football regularly. So it's still a good crop of guys. Is it your Brazils, or shall I say your Argentinas? Is it like your Argentinas?
or even your Netherlands or your Denmarks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think they're still deeper and all that stuff. But I think it's a quick fix. I think Poch is here to do well.
All right.
I still think he's a good hire, just because we need to see what it's like. If he fails, which is very, very realistically, at least we know that we don't have to spend $6 million on a European coach next time. We can just do it with a local guy again. But it's good to figure it out first, I think.
Okay.
So on to the Gold Cup. Let's fix this, boys. Gold Cup.
Gold Cup is looming large this summer.
Yeah, what are you going to be watching? The Gold Cup or the FIFA Club World Cup, which will be happening at the same time in the same country?
I mean, I will selectively both.
You're just waiting for the Germany-Portugal game. They only have 2. The Germans have 2 games, and then the rest of the summer off. They can relax.
That's good.
Good for them. Yeah.
Go to the pool. They
Go to
can.
the pool.
Yeah, they need to rest. They don't need that team is pretty figured out.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Anyway,
is
NYCFC figured out, Bjorn? Let's not keep Daniel Young waiting.
Daniel Young said. Daniel Young launched right into it. He said, "Just wanted to hear everyone's opinion on NYCFC fans' displeasure with David Lee, lack of signings, and NYCFC decreasing attendance at Yankee Stadium. Is that true? That's not. I don't know about decreasing. I guess we'll see this weekend. I'm going to miss it. But the first 2 games, the first game had 25,000. The second one had 20,000. That was fine. That's normal for March. I don't think those are bad numbers.
They're trying to get 20,000.
But sporting director David Lee definitely is a little bit under fire. I agree with that. We had first of all, feast and famine were so close together for us. You guys lost too, right? You guys lost to New England. That's no fun. Those guys are bad.
No, they are bad. and while I was watching the New England game, sorry, you keep going.
No, we can. I mean, I could say we had. I won't talk about it too long because it was just heartbreaking. It was just a weird. It's just a weird game. We played in Atlanta. Ronnie Dyla's new team, we're reunited, and they hadn't won at home since opening day, and they seemed determined to give this game away. There was a lot of mistakes, sloppy play. We had a 3-1 lead just after halftime. I was like, "What is happening?" It was 1-1 after the first half. We scored 2 quick goals. After halftime, and we're really playing well. We're very much in control. I thought, wow, we may win this game, and that would have been pretty big. But then it all fell apart. And Keaton Parks, who had really been so good in this game, he went off injured last game, and there was some worry, but he started and looked good. But then scored an own goal in the whenever that was 65th minute, and then the wheels just came off. There was gave up another goal, and then in really just upsetting fashion, I don't know if you saw it, Thiago Martins was like sort of facing a ball over the top that bounced in front of him, and he somehow wanted goalie Matt Fries to come pick it up, and he wasn't coming, and he was just kind of failed to clear it, and
I did not see the highlights.
And Emmanuel Latte Lath kind of got a foot on it and scored the winner. And Thiago Martins was like demonstratively calling out Matt Fries, and I thought that was not cool. That was not cool. It was not on Fries. It was all the defense.
The answer, by the way, Fries might be the answer to our U.S. goalkeeping issues. By the way,
okay. I mean, I watch him a lot, and he's great. But I don't, he has some
against Kai Havertz, maybe not so great.
I think he does not control the box at an international level. I think he's a really great shot stopper. And he has some blunders. I think I've said this before, like his blunders don't usually get punished. Like he's been fortunate in this. But anyway, this was not on him. This was on Thiago Martins, who just really, to me, has become kind of the lightning rod of this of this team. You know, we've talked about this before. He was an all-star last year. We keep being told about his underlying numbers and all his qualities. He covers more ground than many people. He's very fast. He has all these, but he sure is error prone. Like you could make a highlight reel of Thiago Martins' blunders that would be lengthy and pretty upsetting. He scores. He leads the team in own goals. It just isn't, like somebody described him on Twitter as just a low IQ soccer player. And it's harsh, but it's like we do not have, and I mean, you know, this is not even considering his DP status, like, which obviously that's not his fault that decision was made to make him a DP. Hannes Wolf makes,
but in MLS,
this is, you know,
DP carries
for
weight.
whatever
Right.
weight, for what, you know, fair or unfair. Yeah. And it's, I mean, he has an option. I think he has an option year for next year. I'm really curious if that's going to be picked up. Like we don't have, and Berk Riese can't start. This is the thing, and this is where Daniel Young is right. Sporting director David Lee is on the hot seat because he brought in a lot of players, some young, some not so young. And he had a beef with Nick Cushing. Nick Cushing did not play a lot of those players because he decided they weren't as good. They weren't good enough. And so that's why he lost his job. And basically, I think the undertone of that was like David Lee saying, look, I got you these players, and these players, these players are better than you think. And now we're, you know, in year 2, and Coach Pascal Jansen is basically coming to similar conclusions as Nick Cushing did about who should play and who shouldn't play. And so that it becomes on David Lee. I mean, he has obviously had some successes. This selling Santi Rodriguez for 19 million is very good. He found Alonso Martinez out of nowhere, who is really developing an almost Tati Castellanos-like pressing intensity that's really positive. So there are some.
What's Thiago Martins' position?
He's a center back. He's
the center back. Is he the team captain too?
And he's the team captain as well. And Justin Hack started again next to him because Berk Riese can't be trusted to start. So that's a big, center back's a big question mark. Like right back, Mitja Ilinic, the young guy who he did not cover himself in glory defensively either. The back line, there's a lot of like kind of, especially by the fullback, some like traffic cone defending, you know, people putting their hands behind their backs so they don't get called for a handball, and then they just kind of stand there while people cross into the box. I don't know. There's a lot of question marks about these guys. Johnny Shore, who's been really good, didn't have his best game. But also weird, on the other hand, also a very odd thing, because for 60 minutes, the team looked great. It had a 3-1 lead on the road, and then just the wheels come off. So it's like, it's hard to know. It's hard to know. It was very, very difficult to watch Ronnie Dyla do the famed Ronnie roar with the Atlanta fans. That was very sad to see.
He's got a new girlfriend.
He's got a new girlfriend. And I mean, I still believe in the coach. I think the squad Hannes Wolf has like, I think 3 goals, 1 assist so far. He's been very strong. He's stepping up. Alonso Martinez is great. I think the midfield is very solid. We need another body. I think Pereira can come back soon enough. If we had another center back, then Justin Hack could play midfield. That'd be good. But yeah, the big question marks. We need a replacement. Maxi Morales also still has way too big a role in the team. He's 38. He's playing 90 every game. That's not going to go on
Yeah,
forever.
it's not going to
And
work.
there's nobody really to take his spot. Keaton Parks went out early last week, and there's no replacement for him. Like it's just thin. The team is thin,
Yeah.
and there's money to spend, there's open spots, but they never go fast. It's like that's always, and I guess that's just kind of part of the MLS experience. You got to spend your
Or
money
the
spend your money
NYCFC
or the
experience.
NYCFC experience. You got to
Because
spend your money wisely.
my question is, how in charge do you think David Lee is? Like who does
Oh, as
he must
opposed
answer
to,
to everybody? Well,
yeah.
just because the Red Bull's the same thing. I mean, this is maybe an unfair question. Like David Lee is, but like he has he probably answers to all sorts of people
Hmm.
up top.
Yeah,
It's
I
City
mean,
Football Group,
I
and he
honestly, I
probably
don't
can't
know the
sign
answer.
anybody without their full analysis and permission of some sort of greater picture. Do you think, or do you think he's just willy nilly? He's the one scouting
No,
and
I think
signing
that,
whoever they
no,
need.
I think they are very deliberate, and I think overall that's good. I mean, there was a time when really it was impressive. They would just people come would come of and people of all sorts, like if you think about the center backs, Chanot and Collins were for a while like they're like one of the top
Right?
center back pairings of the last however many years in MLS. Like they were just incredible. They came out of nowhere. Anton Tinnerholm as a right back. Even Jesus Medina, who was kind of maligned at the time, was a very kind of useful high work rate winger. Like they were way more hits than misses in
Right.
terms
And it
of
just slowed down.
their scouting. And those days are not now. Like there's been a lot of kind of there's a lot of like flops. We've had some, Talis Magno, Jovan Mijatovic, those big signings that are not going anywhere.
Mhm.
And on the other hand, some very young guys where the jury's still out, like Juli Fernandez, who's had some ups and downs. Ojeda, Hannes Wolf's looking good. Anyway, to be continued. But this was a big kind of a big swing in this game, because obviously if we win this game in Atlanta, you would say, wow, incredible start for this team.
Yeah.
But now with this loss, I worry. I don't know if we'll see if this is just one game or if this is like kind of a harbinger of tougher times. We will find out. Anyway.
Yeah. I mean, the other part of that is that can be fixed by one or two pretty good signings over the summer. It's MLS,
Yeah,
so
except those always take a while. Like I feel like
true.
historically, it's very rare somebody just gets off the plane. And I mean, we've had that happen with Haber, famously, and every once in a while you have somebody who just kind of
No,
hits.
for
But
the Red Bulls, I mainly blame the Red Bulls. Usually, whenever we did that, we would sign someone on deadline day, like the last day, which took forever because there's no reason you don't have them ready to go by the first day of the transfer window. But no, it happens on the last day, and then it takes a month because his visa's back, and they do that via letter mail or something. So it's like, oh,
right,
visa. You're there for about a month, and when they're finally ready to play, it's like September. And it's like, well, the playoffs are in a month. So, like, you got 4 games with us, So I hear you, but granted, that's always just been a Red Bulls thing. This year, they're particularly more aggressive in the market, and I mean, the start of our season is relatively similar. I'm not too worried about anything. I do like the signings. I'm not worried about necessarily the signings. We still have a lot of injury issues.
yeah,
We
so do
signed
we.
this Polish forward that still hasn't gotten to play. This Chilean left back that still hasn't really gotten to play. We got injury issues. We're still trying to integrate the people we have. Choupo-Moting's still trying to figure out Emil Forsberg a little bit, and they get to know each other better. We lost to New England, which is a shame. And New England got us there towards the end. I think it was 1-1, and they got the winner there towards the end. I think it was a penalty, maybe. I saw so many highlights this weekend. but I think our records are similar because last weekend we won. We beat Toronto at home 2-1. We lost New England, which is a little disappointing. And the thoughts I have with New England is New England, like they're an OG team, but they have no academy. I'm sure they have a second team, but I don't Like they have no infrastructure as a club. Like how, like I keep saying the point of an MLS club, like a big point is have a vibrant academy, find players, create players, right?
Yeah,
New England does none of that. I mean, New England has created no players since the league started.
it's
I mean,
true.
I'm really racking my head about. They're a very old school
Matt
team. They're like an
Polster,
NASL team. Say it again.
Matt Polster, or was he came from somewhere else, right?
Well, Matt Turner, maybe, I guess, but
Yeah.
like, but they did. Matt Turner's not from the academy. Like,
I mean, the
they're an old
goalie,
school
they
MLS team
also
where they
the guy who was at Chelsea, he played for the Reds,
right.
right?
But that's not an academy thing. That's
right,
just like
right.
like they were already in their mid-20s and they were drafted or traded. You know what I mean?
They've done
And that-
well with their goalies. We got to give them that.
True, and they have a really good goalie coach, a guy that not a Scotsman or Englishman, like Craig Burley talks about him a lot. He's like a good goalie coach. He's a New England goalie coach. But so it's just a thought. Like they still play in a football stadium, but they do not sell it. It's an empty football stadium. It's not like Atlanta or Seattle where they sell it. And they have no academy, and just like this is exactly what. Now, that's not news to me. That's how Robert Kraft wants things done. That's how it's still done. He wants it cheap and low and slow, just something to fill in his stadium in the off season.
They're going to build a stadium, right? Is that like that's?
They've been saying that for 20 years. I'll believe it when I see it.
Okay, yeah,
I'll believe it when I see it. Now, which I'd be a big fan of, because the Rev Stadium, by the way, have you been there? Have you done the road games there? You've gone up there, right?
I've been there a bunch of times. Yeah,
it's like the middle of nowhere. It's not close.
Oh
to
yeah,
Boston.
yeah. Well,
if you live in Boston, you can't take the train there or anything.
It's in a mall in Foxborough or whatever it's called.
Yeah, it's like an hour and a half southwest of Boston.
It's not that much, but
hour.
yeah, it's in the
in the middle of
nowhere. It's a football.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a couple of years since I went out there, but people do show up though for some of these. It's not like it's
definitely for the Pats.
It's not like Atlanta. I mean, it's not like obviously it's not like Atlanta or Seattle but they have a fan base. People do want to like this team, but
I know they have the guys that shoot. No disrespect to the fans. I think a downtown stadium, which they're talking about. Yeah, the old muskets, or they call the Minutemen, I believe. The Minutemen.
Yes.
I'm a big Revolutionary War nut. I love Boston for that reason. The Paul Revere Trail and all that
It's
stuff.
nice to go to a stadium where then people chant revolution together. That seems this is sort of fun.
Revolution. And they've been the same team since day one. No rebrands, nothing. But anywho, I digress. The fans are like, hey, New England's turning around. But I think we've had a similar record. Right? It was lost this week, win last week. I think maybe a tie. I think we've had 2 wins, 2 losses, and a tie. Something like that. The most MLS parity, middle of the road scoreline you can have. And I'm treating this first half of the season of just getting all these new guys to gel, because that does take a little bit of time. We do have that summer break. And the way MLS works, which is why I suggested with David Lee, like maybe if you have 1 or 2 good signings over the summer, you want to be hot for the second half of that season. You want to go in the second half of that season strong. That's the goal. So if you're not so strong right now, it's MLS. MLS is a forgiving league. It's not the end of the world. And that's why I'm looking at my team being like, cool, go for it. Like it wasn't a blowout. Nothing about how the Red Bulls is playing makes me really that worried. They're just still getting to know each other. And I think they're building some momentum, and I believe they will build some steam by the end of the season when it matters. That's what I want. I want to make sure all the pieces are in place and everyone kind of knows each other and figures each other out by the second half of the season, so they can really start to cook. And I think in MLS, that's sort of your recipe for success.
Well, I guess then maybe we're doing it right. We'll find out.
I mean, like, who knows? MLS.
It was 2 years ago that seemed to be the plan, and they brought in a bunch of reinforcements over the summer, and it was too late. Like it was the team got better, but it had too much ground to make up, so it didn't make the playoffs.
And this summer might be interesting because there's 2 big tournaments over the summer.
Yeah, the timing's also timing's now different with the Leagues Cup.
Plus, there's still Leagues Cup going to happen there too. So there's a FIFA Club World Cup and then Leagues Cup. Like there's 2 in a row. Not to mention the Gold Cup. Most players.
Daniel Younghead wants to talk about Nick Cushing. Thoughts on Nick Cushing losing a 2-0 lead in the Women's Champions League versus Chelsea. He failed to make subs on time. What else is new? That was definitely a hallmark of his. Chelsea played a pressing style similar to Red Bull. Nick Cushing still has a chance to go to Wembley and win a Women's FA Cup. but no good for him given he is the interim manager.
Oh, he's the only
Daniel-
interim? I thought that was his,
Yeah,
his
I was
post.
wondering about that too. I don't know. I have not kept up. I wish him well. I have not watched, but I'm glad. I'm. It's too bad.
You're gonna
he
have to
lost.
tell us about that, Dan. Yeah, I read about the women's Champions League games and stuff, but I don't follow them super
Don't
closely. I
watch it.
probably should.
Edison Alvarez is playing defense midfield for Mexico and West Ham. He's definitely played excellent
Yeah.
against Arsenal. Yep.
I
And
saw
Daniel
him.
Young
I saw
thinks
him live over the weekend.
Daniel Young thinks the Revs should consider playing at Fenway Park.
Oh, like the well, it's a good location. Like I will say, it seems I've been hearing about the stadium for years. It does seem like it's a real thing that might be
I
happening.
think
If they move to a nice hip downtown stadium, it's going to totally
That'd
revolutionize.
be very cool. It'd be a revolution.
Yeah, it'd be a total revolution.
Revolution.
Dun, 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 dun. I mean, the best alumni they have is still Clint Dempsey and maybe Taylor Twellman. No, I'm being unfair. Carlos Gil was a beast. He's a real
He
player.
was an MVP.
And whatever happened with Bruce, like under Bruce, they were about to maybe win a title. I think
Oh, come on.
they were great under Bruce. You can't deny that.
We beat them.
But anywho, the big news though, what are we talking about?
Oh.
Lionel Messi got off the bench and scored a goal off the bench, baby.
Okay, great.
Lionel Messi. Lionel Messi's coming to LA on Wednesday to play LAFC, I believe.
They're pretty good, but also pretty lucky. This Miami team.
Well,
I'm a little tired of them.
A little
promotion and relegation. Did we talk about this? We've talked about this.
Yeah, a little bit. We said I'll believe it when I see it. Well, it's official. It's been official before.
It's official in 2028.
The NASL announced it never happened.
Pro Rel coming to a stadium near you in 2028.
This is the third time I've heard this in my U.S. soccer life. And I've never seen it. So do I believe it'll be coming? Sure. I'm a fan of it. If it comes in 2028, I'd be all for it. But like you said, like it has to work in the lower leagues first.
That's it.
But also with the Pro Rel, like I don't live near USLT. I don't. Is it going to make me go follow Orange County SC closer? I don't think so. Is it going to make you follow? Who would be your USL teams? The Brooklyn team?
There's a Brooklyn team coming next year, right?
Well, that's different then. You're actually close by. Like it's for me, it just depends what market you're. Like I live in LA. I'm a New York Rebels fan. I've never lived in a market with a USL team, really. So more power to them. I love the fact that's promotion relegation. I'd love to see it work. I think it's a cool way of doing sporting. And at minor league level, maybe that's a very real thing because, like, does anyone know the difference between USL League 1 and USL League 2? Really? I don't think so. Is the differences in the salaries they pay different? I doubt it. I think they're all making, like, the lead players are making a few grand a month. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't think it's a big of a. It's about gate receipts for them. As long as their stadium doesn't get any smaller, it doesn't matter what league they play. As long as people like when I went to Orange County SC game, it was cheap. That's the whole point. It was a nice little stadium in the park. There was a hot dog stand outside, and I sat next to a man and his family. He had season tickets. He had 5 season tickets. Him, his wife, and his 3 kids. And he said, "We love Orange County SC. I can buy a season ticket package, something for the whole family to do for like $100 or $200, something real cheap." You know what I mean? And it's like that's the point. So I don't think
if that's your main selling point, then that's a limited. I mean, I was kind of because
the players aren't going to change. You tell me, are they going to sign Cristiano Ronaldo now?
Not in the short term, but this is all hopefully for a longer. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm going to Las Vegas this weekend, and so the Las Vegas Lights are having a home game. So I was like watching it's like, oh, I'll check it out. So I was watching their home opener on wherever that was streaming, Paramount Plus or whatever, and I was like, well, maybe I'll go, maybe I won't. I don't know. Like they
have that same feeling. I'm like, I'll go. They play in a small field somewhere. I think they used to have a crazy owner. And did you ever see the video where the owner?
Yeah, they would like drop cash out of a helicopter. Yeah, I sent that video to my brothers. I was like, we should go to this, but that's not what they do. Yeah, now it's just very quiet.
I don't think it's the same owner. I think he sold the team.
Yeah. It's all different people. I went to Tampa Bay Rowdies game last 2 years ago, and that was fun. I mean, that's a nice stadium in a good spot, and they turn out a bunch of people. That was pretty fun. I mean,
Yeah, like that. There's one of
it
my
could
favorite
happen.
soccer show, the Total Soccer Show. They're in Richmond. They're all big Richmond Kickers fans.
Right, right,
I
right,
think
right.
the host is even the play-by-play for Richmond Kickers. You know, they go to Richmond Kickers games every week. It's good. The pro rel is cool, but it's not going to change it. They're still going to go every week. The pro rel is not changing anything.
Yeah.
I think what pro rel is going to do is to show the business model can work. Also, it is very exciting. Like, we'll see how exciting it is. But the reality is, it's still minor league soccer. And if you weren't a fan of these teams ahead of time, like I'm not, unless they're down the road, for me, you know, I don't know why I would start rooting for Orange County SC harder than I already do. I like them, not against them. I'm probably going to go again. I never claimed these free tickets they gave me. Once upon a time, I'm visualizing it here.
That's who the Rowdies were playing, by the way. So I've seen them. I've seen them. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they're a fun team. I saw them play Hamburg SV.
Oh, right. Yeah, I remember.
It was a bunch of academy kids for both of them. But yeah, it was a fun night. But like the Galaxy and the LAFC are closer to me,
Sure.
so I'm going to go to them. I'm probably going to go to them more often. Yeah, but no poo pooing. I hope it works, and if it's a hit, it can then influence MLS to follow suit.
Yeah, I mean that's the only way this could ever happen. If this lower league kind of mini pyramid becomes compelling enough to challenge MLS, and that would be the only way that a larger pro rel kind of thing could happen. But this is a long term. This is not a short term thing.
If I were still living in Brooklyn and the Brooklyn USL club played at the Coney Island Stadium, like I'd go to it. Like that's a good. You go to the Coney Island, go to the beach, get a hot dog, go like that I'd probably do. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I went out there to see the Cosmos play a couple times, and it's again, like, to call those fans casual is it's a stretch, you know. It's like it's just a very kind of it was a pretty catatonic fan base. Yeah,
just there to stretch your beach day a little bit,
right? It's something else to do.
I love going to Cyclones. I think I have a Cyclones bobblehead around here somewhere. Yeah, but also where I used to live right off the D line. That it was really easy. Just hop on the D to go right out there. Versus going to Red Bulls game, I have to take the D into Midtown and then switch to the path.
It's a whole right. It's a whole thing.
Yeah, a little longer, hour and a half versus like half an hour. Yeah.
All right.
So I think it's just a circumstantial thing. But yeah, I'm rooting for it. I hope it. I want to see it do well.
Okay.
I want to see it do well. All right, did we do it? Did we do American soccer? We've got the CONCACAF Champions Cup coming up. Oh, I guess the other big piece of news is the FIFA Club World Cup needs a new club because they kicked out one of the Mexican clubs. To do the ownership
LAFC and Club America are going to have a one-game playoff, perhaps. That'd be fun.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Maybe LAFC will be in the Club World Cup. That'd be fun. I'd be into that.
Mm-hmm.
So, wishing the best. But right now, LAFC's got Miami on Wednesday. The Galaxy have the Tigres on Wednesday. Might try to go to one of those games.
NYCFC is playing Minnesota on Saturday. I'm not going to be there.
NYCFC, you said?
Yeah.
Well, this isn't the Champions Cup, right? You're talking about the league.
No, this is just MLS.
Yeah, MLS. Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about
Champions Cup.
Oh, I get
These
it.
are on Wednesday, I believe.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
As that is moving forward. No worries. And then we got MLS. We got USL. Support your local USL club. We got the U.S. women are still good. So
they're still good.
They got a game coming up. All right, everybody. This is the Schutze Boys. We're back. We're a podcast. Tell your friends.
So we're probably not going to be here next Monday. Is that what we're deciding?
Why? What's next Monday?
I'm going to be out.
Oh yeah. Keep posted. Might be a couple weeks to see us again. We'll see. Or maybe we'll do a live from Vegas broadcast from the field. Maybe we'll see.
Oh, you're gonna come visit? Maybe. All right.
Maybe you'll be live. I'll be on the computer. We'll see. Cheers, everybody. Bye bye. Until next week.
Just
hang in there.
Hang in there.